Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भगवतः सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We're starting a new chapter today. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Creation. Chapter number 16, How Parikshit Received the Age of Kali. Text number 1. Sutta Uvacha Tatha Parikshe Dvijavarya Shikshaya Mahi Mahabhagavatah Shashasaha Yatha hi Sutyam Abhijata Kovida Samadhishan Vipra Mahadgunas Tatha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Excuse me. Sutta Goswami said, O learned Brahmanas, Maharaj Parikshit then began to rule over the world as a great devotee of the Lord under the instructions of the best of the twice-born Brahmanas. He ruled by those great qualities which were foretold by expert astrologers at the time of his birth. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjanashlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. It's good to be back. Thank you so much for joining. So in this chapter, we will see how Parikshit Maharaj will receive the age of Kali Yuga, because Dwapar Yuga is coming to an end and it's going to be a beginning of Kali Yuga. We've heard many times that there are 4 yugas. There is Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And according to the scriptures, the duration of each yuga is different. For instance, Satya Yuga, the duration is 1.7 million years. Treta Yuga, 1.2 million years. Dwapar Yuga, 864,000 years. And now Kali Yuga, 432,000 years. So we can see how the duration of the ages also started reducing. Now we have already concluded 5,000 years in Kali Yuga, which means we only have 427,000 years left. Now once the Kali Yuga comes to an end, again Satya Yuga is going to begin. So from this chapter, we will understand the conversation between a bull and a cow and Parikshit Maharaj, and we will understand why do people suffer in this material world? What is the root cause of all the tribulations that people face in this material world? And in that process, we will learn the importance of 4 pillars of religion. Once we follow those 4 pillars of religion, then we will become free from tribulations. So this chapter in the beginning, it explains that Parikshit Maharaj, he was traveling. Now he's a king. He was traveling. And while he was traveling, he noticed a very disturbing scene, something that should not have happened but was happening. So he was very disturbed to see that. What was it? That there was a bull, which is representing religion, was standing only on one leg. And then there was a cow that was representing the earth, this Mother Earth, who was weeping, who was crying. And there was a man who was dressed as a king, and he was beating the cow and the bull, both of them. So this is what Parikshit Maharaj saw. I just remembered 20 years ago, probably Krishna Sharanam Prabhu remembers, 20 years ago, I used to give Bhagavatam class in Hema and Kumar's house. And there we had enacted this chapter. We had created a drama, And guess what? They gave me the role of a cow. You know, how the cow is speaking, the bull is speaking, and there's Parikshit Maharaj. So it was very nice to, you know, enact this pastime of Parikshit Maharaj. So we see that a man who is beating the cow and bull is dressed like a king. That means the ruler himself is hurting the other living entities. See? So Sutta Goswami says that Parikshit Maharaj, he ruled as a great devotee. And that is a very important qualification for a ruler, to be a great devotee of the Lord. Why? Because then that ruler can guide the citizens both materially and spiritually, which means that ruler can make the citizens Krishna conscious, God conscious, you see. And what did Parikshit Maharaj do? He took instructions. He did not just rule on his own. He took instructions and guidance from very esteemed Brahmanas who were very well versed in scriptures, and they were able to give proper guidance to Parikshit Maharaj. Now, today's verse, Sutta Goswami is talking about Parikshit Maharaj's qualities, which were told by the astrologers when he was born. You see, and the first quality they mentioned was he is a great devotee of Krishna. That is the real qualification. You see, we may have different qualifications. We may be the CEO or COO or have a PhD or master's or whatever it may be. Those all are material designations. But being a great devotee of Krishna is the first quality and real qualification. And this, if there is a great devotee in the family, then sometimes it gets carried forward. Now, Parikshit Maharaj being a great devotee, say one of us is a great devotee. Then, after we leave this body, we will continue. All our spiritual bank balance we take with us to the next body, you see. But material opulences we cannot take with us. You know, for instance, I am living in this house, and after I give up this body, say if I get another material body, I cannot claim this house as mine because this was in the past life. So material opulences cannot be taken forward, but spiritual, yes, definitely. So Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that Parikshit Maharaj was a Mahabhagavat, which means a pure devotee, a first class devotee. Why? Because he knew the science of devotion. He knew how to perform bhakti yoga, you see. And we see the Bhagavad Gita and even Srimad Bhagavatam, they teach us the science of devotion. Why do we gather here on Sunday mornings? To learn the science of devotion. So, Srila Prabhupada says that those who are able to make others devotees, those who are able to give this knowledge to others, help them understand this knowledge, help them become Krishna conscious, such devotees, they are called first class devotees. Why? Because they're able to guide others on the spiritual path. So Parikshit Maharaj, he always took advice from these learned Brahmanas. Those Brahmanas were self realized, and this is how he also became self realized. And then he was able to protect not only the citizens, but that included animals also, animals, birds, insects, trees, aquatics, every living entity was under his protection. He knew what is the purpose of human life. He knew the mission of human life is to become self realized. And the best way is to set an example, and that's what he did. He himself practiced what he preached. Now, in this chapter, it is mentioned that Parikshit Maharaj, he married Iravati. That was the name of his wife, who was the daughter of King Uttara. And he had 4 sons. Now, the eldest son was Janmajaya. Now, Janmajaya, in fact, Iravati and Parikshit Maharaj, they were cousins. Now, in those days, marriage was allowed amongst the cousins, right? They were allowed. Just like Arjuna married Subhadra, who was also his cousin. So Janmajaya was actually a great king. He's referred as Raja Rishi. Raja means king, Rishi means saintly. So he was a saintly king. Just like his father, he also helped people progress materially and spiritually. Now, he had two sons and three younger brothers, of course. So, Janmajaya, he decided to avenge the curse that was upon his father Parikshit Maharaj. Now, if you remember before in the early chapters, we learned that Parikshit Maharaj was cursed by a son of a Brahmana, that you will die within 7 days by a snake bite. So now the son Janmajaya, he wanted to avenge that curse. And so he performed a yagna, a sacrifice called Sarpa yagna. Sarpa means snakes, right? So Parikshit Maharaj's father was bitten by a snake, and that's how he died. So he performed a Sarpa Yagna because he wanted to kill the whole race of serpents, complete destruction, including that snake that had killed his father. That was the Takshak. Takshak was his name, you see. So the when he decided to do this Sarpa Yagna to kill all the serpents, there were many sages and demigods. They came and explained to him and tried to change his decision, you see. And at that time, Vyasadev, he narrated the battle of Kurukshetra. To whom? To his disciple Vaishampayana Mahabharata. The whole Mahabharata was recited to him. So Janmajaya, he was affected because his father was, bitten by a snake untimely. He thought it was an untimely death. And so he wanted to see his father again. Imagine if, just like my father has passed away, and I have a desire to see him again. Is it possible? Definitely not. It's not possible. But for Janmajaya, being a great devotee, when he desired to see his father again, Vyasadev fulfilled his desire. And Parikshit Maharaj came right in front of him. And at that time, Janmajaya, he worshipped his father, Parikshit Maharaj, and also Shri Vyasadeva. You see, his desire was fulfilled. Sutta Goswami says that Parikshit Maharaj, he had selected a guru whose name was Kripacharya. See, guidance is necessary for everybody, even though Parikshit Maharaj, first class devotee, great devotee, called a Raja Rishi, saintly king, etc., but still he also needed guidance on the spiritual path. So even great devotees like Parikshit Maharaj, they need a spiritual master. It's not possible to progress spiritually on our own. We definitely need guidance. So now this Janmajaya, he was, of course, very happy to see his father, Parikshit Maharaj, only for a little time, because then Parikshit Maharaj had to go because, it's not possible to have someone who is passed away to be back again in life, living with you again. No. So, Parikshit Maharaj, when he was, you know, still ruling the kingdom, he was still alive, he was ruling the kingdom, he performed 3 horse sacrifices. Where? On the bank of the Ganges. So, in those days, even the common men, they could see demigods. Demigods would come down to attend these fire sacrifices, which means Srila Prabhupada says that in those days, in that yuga, excuse me, interplanetary travel for those in higher planets was very easy. They could come down and go back up. And demigods, they used to visit this planet Earth quite often just to attend these sacrifices. Usually, One cannot see demigods. That's not possible. It is only by the mercy of Krishna that one can see demigods. So, these fire sacrifices at that time were very, very powerful. The brahmanas who performed that sacrifice, they used to chant mantras and start the fire. They did not need a lighter or a matchstick to light it. No, they're very powerful. The brahmanas were pure, so they were able to do that. So Sutta Goswami says that Parikshit Maharaj, he once saw the master of Kali Yuga disguised as a king, even though he was a Shudra. And he was hurting the legs of the cow and the bull. And Parikshit Maharaj caught hold of him to punish him. Now, Parikshit Maharaj, as we heard in the beginning of this chapter, that he would go out to see how things were, how the people were they happy, were they protected, and he wanted to make sure all living entities in his kingdom were protected. And so when he saw this Shudra dressed as a king hurting the cow and the bull, he was very upset. He could not tolerate, because for him, even an animal is the child of God. All living entities are children of the Supreme Lord. So, and especially a cow, hurting a cow is very, very sinful. So, for him, cow protection was very important. Now, in this age of Kali Yuga, people actually have no idea the importance of human life. They have no idea that it's important to respect and protect all living entities. They are only all the time quarreling, there's mismanagement, they have no desire for self realization. They just want to eat, sleep, and be merry. That's all, nothing else. So, in this chapter, we will hear what is the root cause of all these miseries and tribulations. See, now Shaunaka Rishi, he's asking Sutta Goswami, why did Parikshit Maharaj punish? You please describe this incident in detail. You see, but only if it relates to the topics of Lord Krishna. See, the sages, they were very surprised that Parikshit Maharaj was punishing, you see, who? The culprit, but not killing that culprit. You see, Parikshit Maharaj did not kill that Shudra who was dressed as a king. He only punished him. So they wanted to hear. They wanted to hear if, this event had any connection with Krishna, because they were interested only in topics of Krishna. They wanted to dovetail everything, whatever they did, they heard everything with Krishna. And said that's what Srimad Bhagavatam is. It is about Krishna, and it is spoken by Krishna also, and also Krishna's devotees. So when we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, and also when we hear the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, it starts purifying our hearts. That is the purpose of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. It's not that we want to become scholarly, or we want to have a tag on ourselves that I have heard Srimad Bhagavatam. No, the purpose is to purify ourselves. So the sages, they are saying that the devotee of the Supreme Lord, they are like licking honey from Krishna's lotus feet. So there's no use of topics that waste our valuable life. We don't want to hear about the stock market or whatever is happening, politics or whatever. No, we want to hear about Krishna. So this is a very important instruction for us, not to waste this valuable human life. You see, those topics which are not beneficial for us spiritually, then why waste our time? Instead, use every moment in thinking about Krishna, remembering Him, chanting His glories, right? Because we don't know how much time is left, right? Every moment is precious. Like it is said that even if a moment is lost, it cannot be bought back by any amount of money in this material world. It's not possible. The time is gone, it is gone. So, Krishna and his devotees, they are all on the transcendental plane. So, when we hear about Krishna or his devotees, so hearing about Krishna's devotees is as good as hearing about Krishna because they're equally good, right? And Bhagavad Gita is considered to be the most important scripture. Why? Because it's connected to Krishna and his devotees like Arjuna, you see. So from this chapter, we can understand Srila Prabhupada's purpose also, that if somehow or the other we can dovetail everything that we do in Krishna's service, then our life will be successful. Even the work that we do, we can, dovetail it in Krishna's service. You see, it's not that we have to give up our job and go to the temple and start, doing service there. That's also good, but it's not necessary. We can go to our job, work, but just change our consciousness. You see? So here, the sages are also saying that we heard about the Pandavas, and now we are hearing about Parikshit Maharaj, and they're all related to Krishna and his pure devotees. So the sages, they want to know how to become free from death, how to get eternal life. They want to escape, by calling Yamraj. They just don't want, they want to make sure that this life which we have right now is made successful in Krishna consciousness so that we do not come back in this material world. You see, the scientists, they're trying many different ways to stop death. Is that possible? Definitely not. Because the Lord of Death, who is Yamraj, he does not spare anyone. Even the scientist has to die after his term is over, right? So we all have a quota of life as per our past karma. So why not chant, hear, and make our life successful? Because it's only the holy name that's going to help us at the time of death. You see, no possessions, family, friends, relative, money, nothing can save us. Only the holy name of the Lord. So the sages, they had invited Yamaraj to the sacrifice. And that sacrifice was be performed at Naimisharanya. And they said, as long as Yamaraj is here with us, no one will die. Yamaraj is a representative of Lord Krishna, right? If he is in the sacrifice, he'll be busy in the sacrifice, so he's not going to really, no one is going to die. So we should hear Srimad Bhagavatam and the pastimes of Lord Krishna if we want to not get into the grip of Yamraj. You see, we all are under the grip of Yamraj, but as soon as we change our consciousness to Krishna, then we don't have to fear death at all. See, if you come to think of it, no one wants to die, right? But everyone has to die. Yeah. Some come back into this material world, some go back to the spiritual world. So best is that we keep hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Then gradually we'll become free from death. You see? So the sages, they say that the lazy people, they sleep at night, and in daytime they waste their time in making money. Why? Because they want to enjoy the senses. And the more they enjoy, the more they want to enjoy. And for that, they have to work more and more and more. So those who are less intelligent, they are not interested in self-realization because they don't understand what is the purpose of human life. You see, this human body is a very rare gift given to us by Krishna for only one purpose, and that is to become self-realized. This human body is the only means by which we can break the cycle of birth and death and go back to the spiritual world. So those who are intelligent, they take full advantage. What do? They chant, they hear, they remember, they associate with devotees, and they give this knowledge to others. You see? But there are so many in this material world who think life is only about eat, sleep, and be merry. We want to enjoy, and we want to enjoy more and more. And then they miss the bus, which means they miss this rare human form of life. And in the next life, depending on what they were thinking at the time of death, they would get the next body. Excuse me. So Sutta Goswami, he is continuing, and he says, during the reign of Parikshit Maharaj, Kali Yuga began, and it began to show its symptoms. So when he came to know, he was not happy. Obviously, Parikshit Maharaj was not happy. So he took up his bow and arrow to fight. You see, he could understand that Kali Yuga is approaching. How? By those symptoms, by that Shudra who was dressed as a king. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is mention of symptoms of Kali Yuga, which is illicit connection with women, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. These are the four which are the root cause of all tribulations, of all quarrel. These four are the regulative principles that we need to follow if we want to get rid of miseries and tribulations. No meat eating, fish, eggs, onion, garlic, no intoxication, tea, coffee, no illicit sex, and no gambling. These are the four pillars. You see? So, Parikshit Maharaj could see these symptoms in some of his citizens. Why? Kali Yuga had already entered his kingdom. So he wanted to take immediate steps. He knew how important it is to know when we are falling prey to Maya. We have to take immediate steps. We need to get guidance. As soon as we see that we are drifting from the spiritual path, we should approach a bona fide teacher and get some guidance. You see? And just like it is the duty of the state law to protect the citizens, similarly it is a duty of the head of the state, like Parikshit Maharaj was of his kingdom, to make sure to protect his citizens from Maya. You see? So Parikshit Maharaj, he sat on a chariot surrounded by others. There were soldiers, elephants, etc., and they all left. And he conquered all parts of the earth. You see? Now, if you have time, you go to verse number 12, which is very technical. Verse number 12, if you read the purport of that, you will get a lot of technical knowledge about this. So I didn't want to, spend time in reading all of it. So when you have time, you can go to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter 16, verse number 12, and read the technical information. So Parikshit Maharaj, wherever he went, he heard the glories of his great forefathers. They were all devotees of Krishna, and he also heard the glories of Lord Krishna. See how he was protected by Krishna in the womb of his mother. So Parikshit Maharaj was very pleased, and when he heard all these pastimes, he he offered valuables to them. You see, glorifying Krishna or Krishna's devotee, if we glorify Krishna's devotees, it means glorifying Krishna. And if we glorify Krishna, it means we are glorifying his devotees. So Parikshit Maharaj was very happy to hear about Yudhishthira Maharaj, about Arjuna, and he could feel the presence of Krishna just by hearing. Especially in Kali Yuga, our ears are the most powerful sense. The more we will hear, the more there's going to be purification. So he heard how Krishna, the Supreme Lord, served Pandavas, how he became the chariot driver of Arjuna. Also, he became a friend, he became a messenger, he became a night watchman. So, when Parikshit Maharaj heard all this, he became overwhelmed with devotion. You see, he was a pure devotee, right? So he could appreciate the reciprocation and the dealings between Krishna and his devotees. You see, because these dealings, just like Arjuna and Krishna, they would laugh and joke together, eat together, etc. It may appear to be ordinary, but it is not ordinary at all. See? So, if one can somehow or the other build a relationship with the Lord, then it becomes easy to go back to the spiritual world. So, Sutta Goswami, he said, now hear what happened after this. Now, Dharma, who was in the form of a bull, which is representing religion, was wandering around. And he met a cow, which was represented by earth. And the cow was grieving because she had lost her child. She had tears in her eyes, all her beauty was lost. And so the bull, that is Dharma, questioned the earth, which is in the form of cow. So Dharma is actually, Prabhupada says, it's an emblem of moral principles. And the bull helps in production of grains, right? And the cow delivers milk, which is a miracle food. So these two animals, the cow and the bull, they are very important for human society. And in Kali Yuga, both of them are being slaughtered, left, right, and center. We see so many places, slaughterhouses, where they are being slaughtered. Why? Because there are some people, many people, who want to eat non vegetarian food, who want to eat something that is not recommended in the scriptures. You see? So, Dharma, he asks the cow, that means the bull is asking cow, Mother Earth, are you not hale and hearty? Why are you covered in grief? Your face has become black. Are you suffering from some internal disease? You see? In Kali Yuga, Srila Prabhupada says people are always in anxiety. They are always in anxiety. You see? Why? Because they are not following the regulative principles. You see? That is a problem. And that is the reason there is so much distress, frustration and anxiety. You see? So, because they are not following these four relative principles, they have to face so many different diseases. Their mind is disturbed. Sometimes family is not living together. There is separation. Most people are unhappy and they don't know how to be happy. But we've learned in Bhagavad Gita, right? Chapter number 5, the very last verse, Krishna gives us a peace formula, because until and unless one is peaceful, one cannot be happy. So when we hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, we get knowledge so that we can change our consciousness. So we see here that Dharma, in the form of a bull, was standing only on one leg, which means had lost three legs, right? So here the question is to the cow, are you lamenting my state of existence, that I am standing only on one leg? Or unlawful meat eaters will exploit you? You are in this sorry plight, as demigods are now bereft of all offerings. Why? Because there are no sacrifices performed in Kali Yuga. Or are you grieving sufferings of all other living entities because of famine and drought? See, these are very valid questions, because as Kali Yuga progresses, the duration of life reduces, mercy reduces, memory power reduces, right? Even the moral or religious principles, they diminish. So the bull is asking, are you sad about unhappy women, unhappy kids? Because in Kali Yuga, the illicit connection with women will render the women and kids uncared for, right? Women, they are trying to be independent of what? Of protection from men. Marriage is just a formal agreement in Kali Yuga. So these are some of the symptoms of Kali Yuga which are harmful for all citizens. And guess what? The administrators, they have put their state affairs into disorder. So the bull wants to know, are you lamenting that? People are not following rules and regulations. Are you unhappy about this? You see, so many questions the bull is asking, Dharma is asking cow, which is Mother Earth, for us to learn. Because it's just like we are, I'm driving on the road. If I do not follow the traffic rules, I will be punished. The traffic rules are there for our protection. So, first of all, we need to have knowledge about the traffic rules and then follow them also. So, if people do not know what is dharma, what is religion, what are the four rules that need to be followed, you see, then they're definitely going to be unhappy because not following the rules is very lamentable. The reason is because people do not have good association. They have bad association, which is harmful. Like an example given by Srila Prabhupada is Ajamil. Ajamil, a great devotee. He was a very pure Brahmana. He used to recite scriptures. He was knowledgeable. But one day in the forest, he just saw a man embracing a prostitute, and immediately his consciousness changed. He fell down. He had lusty desires, and he went and he left his wife and children, and he got married to a prostitute, and I mean his whole life was a mess. All he did was just that little association was sufficient for his fall down. So Prabhupada says in Kali Yuga, there are many ajamils. There are so many who are victims of movies and social media. There is no proper training. There's no proper knowledge given. Schools and colleges do not teach about self-realization, you see. And then what is the result? There is chaos. There's fall down. So the bull is addressing Mother Earth and says, Dear Mother Earth, Krishna had come down just to remove this heavy burden from you. You see, his activities are all transcendental. Now that Krishna has left, you see, are you feeling sorry? He's asking the cow. You see? He's telling the Mother Earth that you are a reservoir of all riches. Please tell me what is the root cause of tribulations? Have you become so weak? Maybe it is the influence of time, because time conquers even the most powerful. And is it that the time has taken away all your fortune? You see? So now, after hearing all this, Mother Earth in the form of cow is saying that whatever you have inquired shall be known to you. I will try to reply to your questions. You see? She's telling Bull, you too were maintained by four legs. You see? You also increase the happiness of Krishna, by Krishna's mercy. You see, Krishna, he's the one who lays down dharma, the principles of religion. And the executor of that is Yamraj or Dharmaraj. So these principles, they were followed completely in Satya Yuga. And that is when the bull was on his four legs. These are the four pillars of religion, right? Honesty, cleanliness, mercy, and austerity. These four pillars are very essential on the spiritual path for us to build a spiritual home. You see? So these, when they are broken, that is when there are tribulations. You see? So when a person breaks the rule and does gambling, that means that person cannot be honest, which is one pillar, a spiritual pillar of religion. If one engages in illicit connection with women, illicit sex, then there is no cleanliness. That is second spiritual pillar. If a person eats meat, then that person cannot be merciful. That is the third pillar. And if one takes intoxication, one cannot perform austerity, which is the fourth pillar. You See, so in Satya Yuga, all four pillars were there. That means people were following all that. In Treta Yuga, it reduced by one fourth. That means the bull was in three legs. In Dwapar Yuga, reduced to half, which means the bull was standing on two legs. And in Kali Yuga, only one leg is left. And Srila Prabhupada explains that one leg is honesty. You see? So you see the gradual decline of moral and spiritual values in Kali Yuga. And soon it'll become zero. Then devastation will take place. So happiness depends on following religious principles. If we do not follow them, there's going to be misery, distress, and tribulations. So now the earth continues, and she says that in Krishna resides truthfulness, cleanliness, intolerance of another's unhappiness, power to control anger, self satisfaction, straightforwardness, steadiness of mind, control of sense organs, responsibility, equality, tolerance. There is a whole list of 40 items that she talks about. You see? And she says there are many other transcendental qualities which are eternally present in Krishna. They can never be separated from Krishna. So, that personality of Godhead, Krishna, who's a reservoir of all goodness and beauty, has now finished his pastimes on this earthly planet, on where I am. He has gone, he has left the face of the earth. And now, in his absence, the age of Kali Yuga has spread its influence everywhere. So, I am in this sorry condition of existence. You see? Talking about the pastimes of Krishna, Srila Prabhupada mentions that it is not possible to count or to remember Krishna's unlimited pastimes. You see, whatever she has mentioned, these 40 of them, is just an estimate as far as we can see. It's not possible for us, to even understand the transcendental qualities and pastimes of Krishna. You see? And then Prabhupada says that these qualities are again divided into subheadings, and Krishna wants everyone to hear and understand and surrender unto him. And those who surrender, Krishna gives them direction within the heart, right? See, so the earth is saying that thinking about myself, about you, about demigods and the sages and the devotees and all those who are obedient, I'm just thinking about all of us, right? There has to be cooperation between all. Then there's going to be perfection, you see. But here in Kali Yuga, people differentiate between animals and human beings. That we are all children of the Supreme Lord. So we need to protect and respect all living entities. You see? So Mother Earth is saying that Lakshmi ji, yeah, she gave up her own abode and she went into the forest of lotus flowers and she served the Lord's lotus feet. You see? And she says, I was endowed with specific powers to supersede the fortune of all three planetary systems by being decorated with the impressions of Krishna's lotus feet. You see, Krishna's lotus feet has some signs like the flag, thunderbolt, lotus flower, etc. So when his lotus feet would touch the earth, Mother Earth, it would leave those impressions. You see? You see? So she says, I felt so fortunate. But now Krishna is left. You see? So the beauty of this whole world is diminishing. It was there because Krishna was there. He was present. And that time she said, I was perfect. Yeah, everything. Because everything was connected with Krishna. So she says, I feel overburdened by these atheistic kings. Krishna relieved me. Now that he is gone, his whole Yadu dynasty also is gone. You see, he came, he removed irreligious people from this earth, in the Mahabharat war. Now, since he is gone, how can I tolerate the pangs of separation? She says, I was immersed in the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna wherever he walked. You see? Which means when Krishna is in our lives, everything is perfect. But when we take Krishna out of our lives, then we are in distress. So, if we want to feel the presence of Krishna in our lives, the first step is to follow the four regulative principles, the principles of religion: honesty, cleanliness, mercy, austerity. And these are broken when one engages in gambling, illicit sex, meat eating, and intoxication. You see? So, if we somehow or the other can focus on following these four regulative principles very strictly, and chant the holy names, do mantra meditation. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then we will not feel the distress of tribulations in our lives. So while earth and personality of religion were talking, the saintly King Parikshit Maharaj, he reached there at the shore of Saraswati river. So this is how this chapter ends. So I'm going to stop now. If anyone has any questions or comments, you're welcome to ask.